Okie dokie. Okie dokie. Let's start this reading time. Okay, playing NARCISSU right now. Let's see, okay. Wait. No. Okay. Okay. Okay, I think I'll just start from chapter 4. Oh shoot, I need to change the title. Hold on, sorry. Sorry. I'll just change this. Days of gazing at maps, closing my eyes, traveling to unknown towns. One day, on a monthly magazine, I always bought my eye stopped on a photo decorating the back cover. It was a female model wearing a flashy swimsuit, shot at the water's edge with that sort of pose. With the emerald sea I always saw in my dreams behind her back, she was smiling. I was sure we were around the same age. With that exceptional style, happy and relaxed, directing a smile at me, I don't think I was particularly envious. For one thing, I didn't have a swimsuit and didn't have any urgent need to have one. For me, if I had pajamas, that was enough. That day, first year of middle school in June, the first day I was admitted into the hospital, I remember that I had ordered a swimsuit, recalled the swimsuit from a number of years before. I remember the swimsuit that had lost its debut that day. Taken out of the trunk for the first time in years, a school swimsuit that was still brand new. Taking off my usual pajamas, nervously I put on that blue swimsuit. It was a perfect fit. Even though how many years had passed, it fit as if just now I had ordered it. Towards my figure, the monthly magazine's model directed her smiling face at me, smiled with the emerald sea to her back. With that exceptional style, happy and relaxed, directing a smile at me, that was saddening. I didn't think I was particularly envious, however, to be honest, I really might have admired her. Because I knew that it was impossible, I might have yearned for it even more so. January 22nd, 2005. When the sun slowly slanted, staining the western sky orange, as always we continued to drive. What should we do now? Our money was for the most part tight. When I was thinking about that, surprisingly, the girl spoke to me.
あなた、お風呂は入れるの？
Right now, outside the long baths, I haven't been told to stop.
そう。私も似たようなもんよ。
What she was saying was probably whether the doctors have stopped me from taking baths or not. Especially for kidney and digestive disorders where their tubes were used, baths were often banned. Thinking about it that way, at the least, the girl probably had a circulatory problem like I did. What, did you want to go take a bath?
悪い。
You also want to take one. Even so, financially speaking, stopping at a hostel or hotel was out of the question. Well then, shall we look for a bathhouse someplace?
銭湯？
Something like that. We still haven't the money for.
やっぱり。
What, you're fine? Since that day when we left from the 7th floor, 3 days had already passed. There, bathing was done twice a week, and in order to wipe the body each day, there were 2 warm sponge baths. Well, because of the season, we didn't sweat, and we were mostly in the car, so didn't particularly get dirty, but... Is it that you're embarrassed about the bathhouse and so you don't want to go?
別に。そんな意味じゃないわよ。
The sun had completely set and a large moon showed its face in the sky. After that, driving for a while, I found a place that looked like a school somewhere. Here might be just right. I stopped the car on the roadside near the entrance. Then I began fishing through that mass of laundry that had been left in the back seat. I was sure there were 2 or 3 towels. So pushing aside the clothes that didn't matter, I took up what felt like a towel. It had the words Shiraishi Construction printed on it, most likely some marketing thing, as it was a shabby towel. Well, wait a bit. Holding 2 of the shabby towels, I headed to the school in front of us. Climbing over the closed gate, I peered around the area for the place I was looking for. There it is. After a while, I found the faucet that I was looking for. It was probably there for the gardens. Squeaks, squeaks, splash. Turning the faucet, the water flowed out strongly, cold enough that it felt like it was slicing through one's body. Then I wet the towels and firmly wrung them out. Sorry for the wait here. Taking one of the 2 damp towels I carried, I gave one of them to the girl. Then taking off the sweatshirt I wore on top, I went ahead and started to wipe my body. In the car interior, well warmed from the heater, the feel of the chilly damp towel felt good. You don't have to hold back, wipe your body. It's cold and feels good, you know? Alright. At first the girl had stayed unmoving with a sense of hesitation. But with that answer, she slowly took her hands to the buttons on her clothes. Floppy dress, shirt, and jeans. Unlike me, she placed her hand within her clothes and wiped her body that way. Something the matter?
ないでよ。
Sorry, that's right. Holding the towel in her hand, the girl murmured with her clothes partially off. She made a face with just the slightest bit of reluctance and embarrassment. It was the first time I saw her with that expression. In the cramped car, the 2 of us faced our backs to each other. How about it? Feels good, doesn't it? It was just turning totally dark, and the interior was dimly lit. The glass right in front of me reflected the image of myself wiping my body. and further past my figure, it reflected the figure of the girl behind my back. Just like me, she had taken off her top and was wiping herself. Without intending to, I saw her. A large scar on her chest could be seen. Most likely they were scars from surgery. I didn't know the details, but it was larger than mine.
ねえあなた
What is it?
そんなに珍しい
She said that was unusual. I mean, she asked if it was unusual. From beyond my back, words towards my figure reflected in the glass. January 25th, 2005. Oh wait, did I disappear? Hold on, let me... Okay. Under the cloudy sky, the silver coupe ran on. As always, it continued to run with no destination, and looking back, 3 days had passed. In that span, nothing particularly special had happened. To be really particular, along the way, we found a practically free open-air bath. There wasn't really many people around, so at least we managed to take a bath. Other than that, we were towards the bottom of our money, and once again towards the bottom of our gas tank. Have you gotten a bit tired of it?
別に
The two of us, while eating convenience store nigiri, exchanged words. Compared to the food on the 7th floor, it might have been better, but even then, after eating only this for a number of days, it was looking boring. Why does Discord always crash? However, even this kind of food, considering our money, would probably end up a few more trips to the store.
音がうるさ
What is this all of a sudden?
い車の音前より大きく
As she said, the car got louder than before. Now that you say it really has. Most likely the cause was that time we fled from the pachinko parlor a few days ago where the muffler was hit. I had been worried about it, but certainly the sound of the car had gotten a bit louder. Well, it probably wasn't going to get in the way of driving. And before that, the problem right before us was gasoline. The meter had been pointing at empty, and we had been running like that for 5 minutes. And our money right now amounted to 900 yen. With that, unlike last time, it was clearly not enough. If we totally ran out of gas, then there would probably be nothing that we could do. Making a decision, I pulled into a gas station and moreover looked for a self-service station. Soon I found one and pulled the car to a stop at the closest pump out of the many lined up. I'll get some gas. I see. But don't get out of the car. There was no reply. However, she probably also understood what that meant. Opening the car's gas cap, I put in the gasoline by imitating others. In the area was one other customer, and the back was a building with vending machines. I could also see someone that looked like a clerk. Most likely that was where one paid the bill. Looking at the explanatory plate on the wall, seemed that after filling up one would take the receipt over there. In that case, we could just drive off and run away. While looking around the quiet gas station, that's what I felt. 23, 24, 25, 26. The numbers on the meters showing the amount of gas pumped. Unlike before, I thought it was going very slowly. I felt very irritated while waiting for the tank to fill. And then passing 40 liters just when the tank was about to fill. Welcome! The clerk that seemed to be a part-timer that had been in the building up until now for some reason ran over here. Ashtray, the tire pressure, they're all fine? Yes, they're fine. I see it's cold, so please be careful. And perhaps intended to be a service, the clerk started cleaning the windows. As that was happening, the pump announced the tank was full, and with a business-like sound spit out the receipt. Please make your payment over there. Pausing from washing the windows, the clerk pointed at the building from before. Silently held the receipt, unable to think of what to do. I wound up standing still. Something the matter, sir? No, nothing. For the moment, I went back inside the car, and then I only started up the engine. What should I do? That part-time clerk was starting to clean the rear window now. Right now, if I slammed on the accelerator, however, without a doubt the license plate would be noted down. If there were an investigation, we would easily be caught. However, in order to run here, I made a decision, firmly stepped on the clutch. Then, when I switched the gear out of neutral and was about to enter second... Here. You can use it. Suddenly, the girl took out an envelope. From inside that, she took out a 10,000 yen bill and handed it out to me. You had money? And I had been convinced she had none. If that were the case, I would have had to go through all that trouble until now. He wouldn't have gone through all that trouble before now. Why didn't you say anything? Did you ask? Oh no, that's... With just that answer, once again, as always, she faced the window. Once again, the coupe ran on. For now, we had a full tank of gas. Moreover, I had also received a 5,000 bill as change. However, for me, I was more interested about what happened just before. Hey, you. Here, this is all of it. Before I could speak, the girl offered me the envelope from before just like that. It's okay if I use this? Looking inside the envelope I took, there was still 4 10,000 bills. With that, we could probably be fine for a while. However, now I was more concerned about something else. Why did the girl have so much money? At the least, the few thousand yen that I had from the start was just what I had been carrying when we left. However, in this girl's case, I felt it was like she had been prepared in advance. Hey you, before you said that you didn't like the 7th floor, right? I'm the same way. Then you were planning on going somewhere? This is the money for that purpose, isn't it? Then I remember the girl's words from before. She said that she had said that she would go somewhere while she was still able to move on her own. Asked me whether I wanted to stop her or wanted to go with her. Then you really did have some place you wanted to go to? I can't understand if you say not particularly. Just that looking lonely, she sadly murmured. And this girl was without a destination, but still picturing someday in the future, simply preparing for it all this time alone. I was concerned why she had been doing such an empty thing, but I sensed the girl's lonely profile was confirming that. Even me, not particularly. I'm not imitating you. We continued driving without a destination. I, who had impulsively flew from the 7th floor, and the girl who didn't have a place to go, but hollowly only continued to prepare. However, right now it doesn't matter where, I just want to go somewhere. At the least for me, I wanted something to give me attention. To give me direction. Well, how about that? Awaji Shima that we talked about before? Oh, well, how about the Awaji Shima we had talked about before? With the money we have now, it's definitely enough to go. I was sure that any place would have been fine, even the 7th floor, even some place not home, so long as we could continue going. However, I didn't just want to wander around aimlessly. I think I wanted a goal. It didn't matter what. don't you think of wanting to go too?
別に
With just that answer, once again she turned her gaze out the window like she usually did. Always her eyes seemed to be looking at something far away. Just what on earth is she looking at, I wonder? What was she thinking? What was she expecting when she came here, I wonder? Chapter 5, Route 1. I need a...
地図を見るのは好きだった
I liked looking at maps. The Route 1 that continued forever, the unknown places, the cars that would take me everywhere, I loved them. And no matter how much knowledge I accumulated, it was imagination. Reality, my heart both steadily grew fragile. I had a swimsuit, I had maps, but I had no future. I even had a world outside the window, but I had no reality I could touch. If I closed my eyes, I could go to a world of nothingness. But it wasn't as if this world itself had disappeared. I knew that. My lifelong companion was resigned to the world of closed eyes. And yet, always imagining what if, hoping for maybe, gazing at a dream, but in the end, yearning never went beyond longing, both the bikini swimsuit and the emerald sea. The large scar on my chest advised me to give up.
だけど
Spending most of my life at a hospital, spending time only in the world of my closed eyes, being unable to choose anything but the 7th floor or home was pitiful, without being given room to choose. But even saying that, unable to even find that place, I felt myself to be pathetic, even though I had lived 22 years.
一つくらい
When I remembered that, the time that should have stopped felt like it swayed. On that day, the heart that should stopped hurt. January 26, Route 1, Hiratsuka. The clear blue sky of winter reflected on the hood as the silver coupe ran. As always, they ran without a destination, but for the moment, neither gasoline nor shopping seemed to be a problem. Soon we were about to enter a large intersection. Last night I hadn't gotten the girls' approval, but I just generally headed west anyway. It was just I had absolutely no idea about the geography, and the cost of using the expressway seemed painful. While thinking about that, the large intersection came up ahead. Without thinking about it, I was going to drive straight through.
そこ左折
Eh?
左に曲がって
Suddenly the girl gave me directions. While wondering what it was, I followed her directions and made a left turn, coming out onto a large road. Just what was that?
これが1号線当分はまっすぐよ
For a while? Her sudden directions left me surprised. Up until now she had come along, and while she seemed to know everything, this was the first time she had spontaneously gave me directions. Is it that you started wanting to go? To that place, Awajishima?
悪い
No, that's not what I meant. We had driven without any destination. I, who had been wandering around wanting a goal, and the mysterious girl always looked far away. What came from that girl's mouth was unexpected.
期待してるわけじゃない
Eh?
別に水着が欲しいわけじゃ
What are you saying?
なんでもないわよ
January 26, Route 22. Under the clear winter sky, while reflecting the sunlight, the silver coupe ran on. It passed through Hakone with its steep inclines and sudden curves, and now the roads turned much gentler. Hey, this place is around where?
愛知県よ。間もなく名古屋市街に入るわ。
Thinking of our money, we drove on the lower roads without using the expressways. Myself alone, it would have been absolutely impossible, but following the girl's directions, we went on. The girl who was more knowledgeable than a navigation system pointed out the way. I didn't know the reason why, but I felt that it was probably the right route.
次の交差点、22号線に入って。
Got it. Changing lanes as told, I turned the wheel. In the scenery flowing by the window, we first saw a busy city stretch far to the north. Then, while all unnoticed, the scenery around us slowly turned to more calm things. Hey, you want to go there? By the side of the national road, some family restaurant chain. As I drove, I pointed to it and continued speaking. Look up until now we've seen eating only convenience store food, right? Look, up until now we've been eating only convenience store food, right? Of course, we hadn't been eating only convenience store food because we liked it. We had to consider our money and didn't have that sort of room for choosing. But now we had just a little bit of room financially. That was why I made the suggestion. Well, once in a while a restaurant's good too.
私はコンビニでいい。
While I was saying that, just a bit, the girl looked down. It seemed like she was looking at her clothes. Oh, that's right. She was wearing those floppy clothes all this time. Got it. Then want to go there first?
あっちって。
Look, the store just up front. Some kind of jeans shop. It was one of those places often seen along the national roads that looked like some kind of wholesale outlet dealing in jeans and casual wear. I'm sure a store like that would have things that don't cost that much. Well, we're going in, okay? There was no reply, but there was also no resistance. Could it be that if she didn't object, I could think of it as agreement? We entered the store. On the large 2 floors, the girls curiously went around many of the sections. She was silent as usual, but might have looked unchanged from her usual appearance. But somehow it was slightly different from the time she was lifelessly staring at whatever came to on boring television. Over and over she would pick something up, look at the price tag, and fall into thought. And while trying things on, she would come up to me.
どう？
How is it? It suits you.
変じゃない？
Ah, probably. Over and over like that, the girl would change clothes and come back to show me. She would never smile or show any emotion, but I sensed somewhere that she was enjoying herself. How about it decided?
これにする？
While saying that, she showed me the last set she changed into, a cute shirt and short skirt. Those clothes were just exactly like a middle school or high school student's, but she happily wore them. Certainly she had said that she was older than me. However you looked at it, when put together with a figure that really didn't look older, it suited her so well it was charming. With that skirt, isn't it better if you gave up on it? I know it's not that it doesn't suit you or anything. Look, it's cold, isn't it? It's not an outfit for this season.
別に平気よ。私我慢するから。
When she answered, I could see just the slightest bit of red on her face. Red on her white face. Even though normally she would absolutely never show any emotion. Could it be that she's embarrassed? It was the first time I saw her show emotion. We continued on driving. Under the high, high winter sky, the silver coupe with the slightly noisy exhaust continued driving.
次で21号線に入って。
Alright. As usual, we were following the girl's navigation. Before we knew it, we were in Gifu-ken. Before I normally accept when needed, the girl would always be gazing out the window. But now again, she would happily look at her reflection in the side mirror, as if she were trying to avoid my noticing. She peered into the mirror.
何？
Nothing. The clothes from before. Looks like you like them.
別にそんなことないわよ。
Saying that, she stopped looking at the side mirror. After a while, when I was looking away, the girl once again started checking the mirror. In the end, she also got a cute side, it seems. From just that little thing, just normally, and only normally, I thought she was cute. When the sun had completely set, by some roadside somewhere, we had once again fished our meal of convenience store food. So I wonder wonder what's become of things right now. Even now, wrapped around my wrist, the white vinyl bracelet. On it, my blood type and name is recorded. As I looked at the hospital's nameplate, I murmured, "You think there's been a big uproar?"
多分ね。
Yeah. Parents, friends, as well as the hospital doctors. When I thought that even if only on the surface they were worried about me, it pained my heart a little. Sorry, Dad, everyone. Going off and doing something selfish.
ねえ、あなたって
Something the matter?
最初に死ぬって聞かされた時泣いた？
At the girl's sudden question, for a moment, I was taken aback. Then I thought about the weight of the question for a time. I think I didn't cry.
じゃあどうして自分だけって運命を呪った？
That I don't really remember. In the beginning, I wasn't able to realize what was happening in reality. I think it was because I couldn't conceive of it as being real. However, in truth, there might have been a bit of that. The friend I went to the trading center with bought a new car, complained about how much trouble the 36 loan payments were. There were those who got jobs, those who got left back in school, those who had kids, those who were dumped by their girlfriends again. But I was denied a future. That was why, to be honest, I think there had been the feeling. That was why, to be honest, I think there had been the feeling of why only me. Even when I told myself that was the fate, that this was fate, still I think there was the feeling of not wanting to give up. Then what about you?
私
Yeah, did you cry out of sadness or curse fate?
私は平気だった。
Why?
だって最初から何も望んでなかったから。私は諦めていたから。
I see. If you gave up from the start, there would be no disappointment. If you looked into your past, there wouldn't be any happy things, but also no painful things. But I had a feeling that way of thinking was far too sad. Or perhaps it was the girl's case. Maybe there was nothing else that could be done.
前に見た映画で言ってた。狼は3年しか生きないって。
What, wolves? Suddenly the girl started talking about something I didn't really get.
でもロバは9年も生きるんだって。
What's this? Wolves are 3 years and donkeys are 9?
ロバは役に立つから長生きする。そういうことらしいよ。
The girl looked lonely as she gazed out the window, her words sliding out. This was probably to this girl the excuse to convince herself, the excuse so that she could give up. Under the evening winter sky, we continued straight along Route 21. Dancing in the darkening sky, lightly floating specks of white, it seemed that depending on circumstances, it might snow harder.
どうかした？
Yeah, it's snowing. Then I noticed that the sides of the road had become white with fallen snow. I didn't know when we had come to a snowy area, but everywhere I looked was stained with white. This might be trouble. From what I had seen before, these tires were studless winter tires. If further ahead was an even snowier area, it might be troublesome. Hey, is this place a snowy area? Well, if this snow gets any worse, it might be difficult, you see. Even if the road surface wasn't covered in snow in such a place, it wasn't surprising if the road froze over. And thinking about it, I hadn't learned anything outside of the instruction center's textbook, and we might need to have chains put on. How about it? Do you know?
この先は関ヶ原。
I heard that the last time. What I want to know is whether this place gets heavy snow.
わからない。
For some reason, the girl answered with a lonely expression. From that expression, I felt that something didn't match up. Even though she knew that much about the roads and also knew so much about this car, compared to that, this seemed like something she would definitely know. Alright, at any rate, I'll drive carefully. The shoreline. We got out of the car and gazed at a lake. Blown by the strong wind, here and there, white snow even stained the frozen lake surface. And in that, facing what seemed like the sea's edge, the girl slowly started walking. It was a scene that occurred before. Say, what do you think? And if you continued to the scene like this, would you die comfortably thing? I have a feeling it would be more...
楽な気がする。
I have a feeling it would be more comfortable than the sea. I don't see the basis for that answer.
だって海水は塩辛いし体も浮いちゃうでしょ。
That's impressive reasoning. With the cold north wind and in the falling snow, the two of us exchanged words where one couldn't tell whether we were serious or joking. And then the feet that had briefly paused once again started to move towards the lake.
やっぱり止めないわ。
Well, today you don't plan on dying, right?
そうかもね。
That place, Awajishima, how much further would that be, I wonder? It's not as if I wanted to go there or that I have some sort of obsession with it. However, even though we had been wandering around with no purpose now, we found ourselves with a place to aim for. Even if without me stopping her, the girl's feet remained one step before the water's edge. I was sure that was how it was.
そこから1号に戻って。
Got it. From Route 8 back to Route 1, following the girl's navigation, this time headed towards Kusatsu.
ねえ、今ってお金は大丈夫？
We still have about 30,000 yen. Before we had bought clothes, but other than that, we continued on our usual convenience store fare. Is something the matter?
じゃあ高速に乗る？
Expressway, we can't go all the way using the smaller roads.
確かにギリギリまでならいけるけど、でも最終的には必ず有料道路に乗るから。
I see, well, it's Awaji Island after all. I didn't know the details, but in order to get to Awajishima, one had to cross the Sido Ohashi Bridge or some other bridge.
じゃあ草津からバイパスに入って。
Alright. Following the girl's direction, we went from the Seda interchange and connected onto the Meshin Expressway. Compared to the normal roads we had been running on until now, it was obviously a better maintained road. There was no traffic lights, and with good visibility on the road, even for a first-time expressway driver like me, I felt it was easy to drive on. It was just if I were in the high-speed lane on the right, the cars that came up behind at a ferocious pace was scary. At the start, I didn't know what passing was or what the right blinkers meant, but when I got used to it, I thought driving on the expressways were fun. Amazing, that car. Passing us at an astounding speed. Some car from somewhere. We were driving leisurely and couldn't help but look at each other. And then the girl who sat in the passenger seat looked slightly different from usual. Normally she would be looking out the window with distant eyes, but today, surprisingly, she was curiously looking around at the cars. Speaking of which, for some reason, she knew a lot about cars. I pointed at the car from before that ferociously passed us. So what car was that just now? Come on now, think of it like a quiz.
トヨタセリカオーバービュー
And the one that passed us now?
シトローエンクサラ
I see you know them well, don't you? To be honest, I couldn't tell whether she was right or not. However, the girl that would rarely open her mouth on her own seemed to be enjoying herself as she answered again and again. That was why, without pausing, I continued to speak.
青いのがユーノス赤いのはアルファロメオ
She even answered for two cars that passed us at the same time. But you don't know that one, right? As I spoke this time, I pointed to something different from a normal car, a truck. I wanted to see that slightly troubled face from the girl who would show so little emotion. So yeah, I guess you don't know that. No trucks, huh?
日産アトラス
Hey, you're amazing. Even though I was trying to give her a hard time, I hadn't thought she would know even trucks. If you know this much, isn't it on the level where you can be proud of it?
そう
I think you can puff out your chest. The girl returned silence at my words. She seemed just a little bit embarrassed. I'm sure she really liked cars. Well then, when you get over there, do you want to try driving?
でも私免許持ってない
It'll be fine. I'm sure driving on the beach or something will be fun. Most likely if we go to Awajishima, there will be plenty of deserted places. Plus, this car was a manual transmission, so once you got used to it, I thought it would be interesting. Well, in that case, I'll teach you. Well, even so, I'm just a new driver myself. Okay, Chapter 6, Echo. How long have I been streaming for? 43 minutes. When the high sun was just misting over. The silver coupe continued to run along the expressway. Soon we would be at the Katsuragawa parking area. Moving slower, we drove in what could be called a slow resting pace. Say you want to take a break next? What's wrong?
ちょっと疲れたみたい
I see. It wasn't too surprising. Just before she had been so excited, and originally we were even more sick than ordinary sick people, so it was probably natural. Well, I'll go buy you something. Alright, I'll go buy them quick. Rushing over to a nearby stop, I bought things that weren't too different from what I would buy at a convenience store. Here, a pokeri and nigiri and also the fries. Oh, a poke. Those were the words of her reply, but the girl just took them and didn't move to eat. Even though normally she would have started eating the fries first. You alright? Is it that you're starting to feel bad?
薬が切れただけだから。
My medicine has run out is all. I see. Her medicine ran out. That was something I had feared. Well, no, it was something that could easily be imagined from the moment we had left the hospital. Of course I had forgotten about it on purpose. Up until now I hadn't thought about it. I hadn't even the sense to think about it. Since when? When did your medicine run out?
昨日の夜。
Then it's almost been an entire day. In my case, I had been told by the doctors that 2 days without taking any was my limit. Most likely the girl's case was similar. Now that I thought about it, since the day we had left the hospital, 8 days had already passed. The amount of medicine that we carried on hand, I could have seen that sooner or later. It would wind up like this. Right now, what should I do?
ねえ、私、7階は嫌よ。
I know, and you don't want home either, right? Once again, the silver coupe ran on. In the end, I got off the expressway at the next exit. It wasn't that it would help anything, but I wouldn't be able to do anything while on it. From the bleak expressway exit, I continued driving towards an urban area. Then I searched it, not for a small town doctor, but a large hospital. More precisely, I was looking for the pharmacies that are near large hospitals. To be honest, going to a hospital may have been the best thing. If it were a normal sickness, without any hesitation, I would have done so. However, we were residents of the 7th floor. The vinyl identification bracelets wrapped around our wrists were white. And also, we were people who had fled from the 7th floor. While thinking about that, I peered around while gripping the wheel. I was sure that at a pharmacy near a large hospital should have most things. Found one. Standing on the corner facing large street was some large university hospital. Right near it were the signs of two or three of pharmacies. Just when I decided I wouldn't be able to find parking, I found an open space and quickly stopped the car. Hey, let me borrow your medicine bag. With a mystified expression, the girl handed the bag with medicine over. I took that bag of medicine used in hospital wards and took out only the paper explaining the medicine. With this, it should be fine. Well, I'll be back soon. Leaving her alone in the car, I ran a short distance to the pharmacy. Passing through the stuttering, slow automatic door, I came into the store. I headed straight for the counter. Shopkeeper, welcome. The person who called out to me was a middle-aged man. Wearing white clothes, he really fit the image of a pharmacist. I need this medicine, please. Pharmacist. Yes, please wait a moment. With that, the man took out the medicine explanation paper I handed over and went into the back. Most likely, instead of dispensing normal medicine, this place dispensed medicine from hospitals. When I went to an outpatient hospital before, I remember going into a place like this just to get medicine. Obviously, it was built right next to the hospital, and I thought that most medicines would probably be gathered here. Pharmacist, sorry for the wait. It comes out to this much. Eventually, the man returned. In his hand were clear bags of capsules of medicine. He was carrying 2 bundles of them. With that much, it was probably all right for a while. At a glance, there was probably 1 week's worth. And then, as I was taking out my wallet, pharmacist, before that, may I have your prescription? Prescription, pharmacist. I'm talking about the prescription for the medicine. There are for clinical use, you see. Pharmacist, you received one from your doctor, right? I hadn't expected this. Well, no, thinking about it calmly, these weren't over-the-counter items, so you wouldn't buy these normally. Pharmacist, is something the matter? No, I faltered, and the man in white began to lay increasingly suspicious eyes at me. Pharmacist, wait, that's... Then noticing the white bracelet wrapped around my wrist, and the words that were written on it, my name, blood type, and then he was trying to read the name of the hospital. Snatch. Pharmacist. Ah, the medicine leapt for the glass counter. Reflexively, I grabbed the whole pile. Pharmacist. Hey, wait. The man behind the counter gave a great shout. I heard that voice behind me, but I was already running. It was only 5 meters from the shop exit. Unable to gain steady footing, I was stumbling, but even then I ran out in a daze. And then coming from the stuttering, slow automatic door as I was making to leave the store. At that time... Oh, dang it. Suddenly, for a moment, awareness turned white. I slammed my head on the edge of the automatic door with enough force that seemed to have cracked. While shaking my wobbly head, I reached off my hand and opened the automatic door that had stopped partially open. Then, when I got out of the store, I began running. I hadn't let go of the bags of medicine I've been holding. Haha, phew. Unable to help myself, I was out of breath. And I wound up raising my chin up. It was only a few tens of meters to the car, but it felt awfully long. It didn't seem like anyone was chasing after me, but I didn't even have the luxury of looking back to check. If I were caught, what would happen to her? Alone in the car, she would probably sit there forever, waiting for my return. As I thought about that, for some reason I ran in earnest. While staggering out of breath and thinking that this was my full strength, in spite of myself, I felt it was sad. Slam. Haha, phew. As if collapsing, I fell into the sea and panted heavily as I tore the car onto the road. Clearly, more so than the other day as the pachinko parlor, I became aware of how my strength had slipped. And then checking the rear mirror, it looked like I really had cut by the glass. A bit of blood was flowing from my forehead. Probably if it's just this much, it'll stop soon. While driving, I lightly pressed some pocket tissues on it.
大丈夫。
Yeah, I'm fine.
でも血が出てるし。
Don't worry about it, it's nothing. To the girl directing a worried face towards me, I waved my hand, telling her not to worry. And then, with my left hand holding the wheel, I handed her the bundle of medicine. Here, take your medicine. With this, I thought we'd be fine for the moment. At the least, it would probably hold out for a week. But when this runs out, what would happen? It was good that today had been a success by chance, but it was clear that my own strength was declining every day. Originally, we didn't have a goal or place to go. Because we had no desires, we had no fear of losing anything. And now things were slightly different. With the birth of purpose, the fear of loss was also born. January 29th. Oh, January 29th. The day cleared up, and that clear, so very high sky that was characteristic of winter spread wide. Once again, we went on the expressway. Right now, we left the Suita Junction, and we're running along the Chugoku Expressway. Hey, what's the next one?
神戸ジャンクションから。
Got it, the Sanyo Expressway, right? Following the girl's direction, the silver coupe ran. Coming all the way here, the signs along the way were occasionally showing the words Awajishima. Since the day we escaped from the 7th floor, the odometer had already passed 900 kilometers. It seemed unthinkable that we had gone so far, but considering our destination, it was just a short distance. Then what had appeared before us was a large bridge. This is the Akashi Kayukyo Bridge. It's an amazing bridge, isn't it? The two of us couldn't help but be impressed. It was as if it ran atop the sea forever. Then after we drove for a while, right in the middle of the bridge here and there, cars were stopped and people could be seen. Most likely those were tourists who got out of their cars to take commemorative photos. Imitating those people, I pulled the car to a stop along the side of the road.
ここ駐停車禁止よ。
Well, if it's just for a bit, it'd probably be fine. Aside from what we've seen, a number of other cars had stopped in the same way. Come now, let's go for a bit and have a look. I'm sure it's got an amazing view. You sounded a little reluctant still, but the girl got out of the car to join me. View. A strong cold wind whistled atop the bridge. It's colder than you think, isn't it? Since normally we wouldn't come out of the car, we felt it all the more. In contrast to us farther down, there were two people that seemed to be a couple. It looked like they were taking commemorative photos and raising happy voices that even we could hear. Looking around closer, other than those two, there were families and groups also taking pictures. A commemorative picture, certainly for a place like this, one was necessary. Speaking of which, wait a sec. I was certain that there had been a camera. Before the first time I'd searched through the car, I remember that I had found a cheap disposable camera. At the time, from what little I saw, I thought there were a few shots left. Pulling out the camera, I checked the film. Wonderful, there are still 2 shots left. Sorry for the wait. Look, I'll take one of you. A picture since we're here after all. No. Now, don't say that. Strike a pose or something for me. As I spoke, I readied the camera, pointing it at her. Come on now, try making a bit of a happier face. However, maybe because she was embarrassed, even when she finally faced this way, she had on a sulking expression. Or perhaps, for this girl, this was her trying her best to make us smile. As I thought about that, I made ready to shoot the camera when... Boyfriend, excuse me, could you take a picture of us? Sure. Some random couple came up to us with a camera in hand. Okay, ready, couple, yes please. Happily the 2 hugged shoulders, and the 2 of them smiled. I placed the 2 of them in the viewfinder and hit the shutter. Boyfriend, thank you very much. Girlfriend, we'll exchange, we'll take a picture of you 2. No, we're... Boyfriend, I just pressed you on the camera, right? Faster than reply, he took my camera. Actually, it was more like he snatched it. Probably he was being polite. Ignoring our hesitation, he quickly readied the camera. Boyfriend, come now, the 2 of you, get closer together. At those words, I moved my body just a bit closer to the girl. Still looking emotionless as always, girls next to me also moved just a hint closer. Boyfriend, could you please pose a bit more? Noisily, the boyfriend started adding more requests and looking closer. The guy's girlfriend was also giving us nice, exasperated looks. Thinking there was no helping it from behind her back to her shoulder, I slowly wrapped my arm around her. It was the first time I touched her body. The feeling of the childish clothes we bought the other day and the waist-length hair spread through my hands. Looking at the camera, I couldn't see the girl's expression, but maybe she might be wearing that embarrassed pouting face she would only show very rarely. Well then, ready? Perhaps satisfied that they had taken a decent picture, the couple returned to their car. We also turned towards our own car. A girlfriend, looks like we've been mistaken. Could it be that we look like it? I said it in just a bit of a joking way. For some reason it felt fun, and I just wound up continuing in that light tone. Well, you know. Well, what do you think, said Sumi. What's with that? What's with that? You're the younger one. Even with those words the same as always, she was facing the window. Her expression was the same, and she didn't even move to look in my direction. But that was, her eyes weren't the ones that always looked far away. I had a feeling that it was embarrassing, so she was turning her face away. January 29. Looking up at the high sun, that characteristically blue sky spread on and on. From then we went on just a bit and arrived at the Samoto interchange. Once again, we exited and returned to the normal roads. We finally arrived, haven't we? Since that day when we left the 7th floor, the car's trip meter showed some 900 kilometers. From an unplanned start, we really did make it all the way here. Well then, where should we go from here? South, got it. Following the girl's direction, I set off. Of course, coming here, even I knew that the place would be... I could see a number of signs for tourists in front of me. However, I followed her navigation. I had a feeling that it would be wrong if I didn't. For some reason, I wanted to do it that way. NARCISSU. Slowly, the setting sun dyed everything orange. A deserted beach, a strong cold and wind swaying at Pine Grove. Driving the car out onto the beach, I turned the driver's seat over to that girl. Alright, the clutch, can your feet reach it?
大丈夫。
Okay, then next shift the gear from neutral to
知っ
second.
てるわよ。
Alright, then do what you want.
わかった。
The girl with her short build stretched her foot out as far as she could while gripping the wheel with a serious expression. Leaning out of the passenger seat, I spoke up. That's great. After that, slowly released the clutch. And then, looking obviously nervous, as expected, the grating noise was phenomenal. Look, you need to disengage the clutch more quietly. Our words said so, but of course, it wasn't something one got skillful at right away. The girl tried her best, chewing on her lip a bit in concentration. Exactly because she would normally show no emotion, her figure seemed charming to me. Hey, I'm about to start feeling sick. I know. With that muffler slightly broken, the silver coupe was noisy. On the deserted beach, it was as if a hollowing voice was reverberating. When the sunset had changed into the night sky and the faltering sea breeze completely changed to being a land breeze, at some point the face of a large moon hung in the sky. For the most part, it seems you've gotten used to it. Along with that reply, she even shifted into third. Totally used to the clutch, now she was driving around the narrow beach. If that's the case, you could get a license without going to a training center, no?
そうなの。
Really? Well, I don't have much credibility. It's the words of someone who just got their license after all. By now, there was no meaning for us to get a license. Both of us knew that. We had maps, we had medicine, the muffler was a bit broken and loud, but we even had a silver coupe. But we had no time. We had no future. It was exactly because we knew that I felt it was all the more trying. Well then, instead I'll give you mine. As I spoke, I took out my own license from my pocket. This was originally the license that had lost its debut. To me, the proof of the ordinary world that I should have already lost. Here, in place of your diploma. Even if I take it, it doesn't look like I'd have time to use it. Well, don't hold back. I'm more or less the same way after all. The 7th floor that no one had ever escaped. The high ceiling windows that could open only 15 centimeters. The white vinyl bracelets. Where the third time at the last, the girl on her second, I on my first. So here, congratulations on graduating. Thank you. With a small nod, the girl accepted my license. With that, she was also licensed. Not only coupes, but sedans and even convertibles. She should be able to drive anything that she liked. Surely she should be able to go to any place that she liked. After that, we drove for a bit more. We arrived at our destination, the place where daffodils could be seen. It was supposed to be a tourist spot, but perhaps this was a bit away from the area. Perhaps it was at night, so no one was in sight. Within the perfect darkness at night, we were waiting for the dawn in the dim car interior.
ねえ。明かりつけない。
Oh, whoops. She asked for him to turn on the light. The battery seems about dead.
そうだね。
Inside the car with even the engine off. Only the dim light from the dashboard faintly illuminated our profiles. In the tight space of the car where sound and light faded away, we exchanged very few words as we waited for sunrise. And the lump of laundry that had been tossed to the rear seat, the thick jeans and sweatshirts and towels. We took a number of those and wrapped them around our bodies to in place of blankets. Aren't you cold? Well, you can come a little closer, you know. Look, don't hold back. Come here. Speaking to the girl shivering from the cold in the passenger seat, I pointed to my lap. I'm sure that it'd be warmer here.
別に私は平気よ。
As the girl spoke, her body was shivering even inside the car. Our breaths misted. And it was obvious she was putting on a brave face.
それともあなたが寒いから来てほしいの？
Well, that's fine too.
じゃあ分かった。
Then slowly she came over to my side, hesitatingly curled in my lap. Well, it's a bit warmer, isn't it? The windshield was fogged totally white from the cold outside. With that white in the dark outside, nothing could be seen outside. With the windshield was fogged totally white from the cold outside. With that white and the dark outside, nothing could be seen outside. But soon the sun would rise. Surely at the time a field of white flowers would spread out. The night was quickly fading, and the rising sun was turning the darkness from a faint purple to a pale white. Then with the dawn, white flowers spread before our eyes. In the place that had been only black up until now, white flowers appeared. The two of us couldn't help but get out of the car and gaze at the scene. Amazing. Spread before us countless daffodils. The morning dew caught the morning sun, further enhancing the bright wetness of the prominent flowers. One could believe that it was a carpet that stretched out to the sea. And in that we exchanged words, our breaths shining the same white. Since that day, the boring television showed the flowers we had come to this place. Even though we had no purpose, we managed to come all the way here. These flowers, I can think of them as being the same. These flowers, I can think of them as being the same.
厳密に言っても同じ。
I see, that's good. I didn't know the difference between kinds, but that day the television showed a scene of unbroken, uniform beauty. Compared to that, the flowers before our eyes differed in size as well as how much they bloomed. But without a doubt, they were here.
綺麗。
Indeed. Vague, dull, ordinary. But always cold and merciless to everybody really. Reality? In a world filled with only things that could be seen, a world filled with things where even if you stretched out your hand, you couldn't touch. Right now, something that could definitely be touched was before our eyes. Some fragments of those unseen somethings were scattered about. January 31st, Awajishima. Rain continued to fall from the solid white January sky. Since then, 2 days had passed, and the whole time we were still in this place. We couldn't go. Hey, are you alright? Probably.
多分
Her health had taken a turn for the worse. With her lying stretched out in the passenger seat, we barely moved the car and had remained stopped here. She was taking her medicine. Perhaps they weren't effective. Her bad state of health remained constant. However, we were the people from the seventh floor. From her original condition for a girl who was on her second time to end up like this was too surprising. Say, what do you want? Say, do you want to go back?
あなた
You want to go back? Just a little bit.
あなた
Seventh floor or home? That's... I didn't know. What I had known was that sooner or later this would happen. And of course, I myself was not too far from it. However, being able to watch only nearby, unable to do anything, was painful. February 2nd. The rain didn't seem like it wanted to stop, and I continued falling from the dark night sky. Beyond the windows of the parked car, the shining white daffodils were faintly away. Say this is, as I spoke, I pointed to the white flowers beyond the windshield. These were narcissus, weren't they? The daffodils? The words
ナ
came
ルシスがごきげんよ
and the words came from Narcissus. Narcissus? That was a word that I remembered hearing before until now. I had thought that it had been a familiar word, but you mean the Narcissus where Narcissus came from?
もともとが神話だからいろんな説があるんだけどね
And then the girl started to slowly explain as I wore an admiring expression on my face.
誰からも愛されるナルシス妖精のエコーもそんな彼が好きな一人だったのでもエコーは相手と同じ言葉しか話せない
Nothing but the same words?
そうだからナルシスに先に彼の口から愛してるって言ってもらわないとエコーは自分の気持ちを伝えることができないの
In a lonely and sad voice, the girl continued to speak. I felt at her gaze like before, looking at some place much further away.
でもそんなことどんなに夢見て憧れても決して叶うことのないエコーの願い最後にはナルシスに呪いをかけてしまうの
Sex. There is no sex. That was the famous falling in love with her own image reflected in the pool.
そして自分の姿を見続けたナルシスはいつしか綺麗な花へと姿を変えてしまうのそれがこの花ナルキッソスの語源よ
When the story came to an end, she lightly took a breath. I had been listening and also felt desolate. Echo, who bore a yearning for something that could never be reached, it felt as if it were just like us now. And then what happened to
い
Echo?
ないわ呪いをかけるときに消えちゃったから
Disappeared? Then wasn't there no meaning behind it? To go so far as to place a curse, but to get nothing from it in the end, it just made Narcissus unhappy
どう
also.
かした
No, but you're different, aren't you? Well, before you didn't you ask me? Whether I cursed my own fate, which I couldn't do anything about.
私は諦めているから時間も止まった私
Numerous seasons, white overcast skies passed without the need to exchange words with anyone.
いつから私は一人なのだろうか目を閉じても世界は消えない
Even if I stopped my ears, the sound of rain would stop. I knew that. Neither the bikini, swimsuit, the emerald scene, nor the happily smiling photo. I didn't really think I was envious. In the world of my closed eyes, without maps or a car, I could go anywhere. Even if I wasn't being warmed by the large scar on my chest, in this reality where Narcissus and I were Echo.
決して憧れない
I would never never curse. Even when I was supposed to have decided that. My heart right now swayed. A time that was supposed to have stopped tried to move. even though if it did so now, very soon it would end.
傷は深ければ深いほどそれに比例して治るのも時間がかかるだし、それならば長い時間をかけてゆっくり離れてしまうともう取り返しがつかないのだろうか。じゃあ22年も生きた私はどうなるのだろう。
Oof. Hey, are you alright? Before dawn, stretching my hand out to the passenger seat, I stroked her back. Since then, another 2 days had passed, and the medicine that had been losing effectiveness had run out. It was better than doing nothing. Thinking that, I reached out for the car keys, planning on going to a pharmacy. Then, as I was about to switch on the
いい
ignition,
から
I stopped by a weak voice. At this rate, you're...
どうせもう聞かない。
That may be so, but certainly it was that girl that said. Certainly it was like the girl said. Most likely with the same medicine there would be any effect. But even knowing that, it was painful for me to sit still, unable to do anything. Then, well, let's go somewhere else.
別の場所
Yeah, somewhere other than this lonely place. Okay, let's decide on our next destination. Come on, anything will do. Be the navigator again. I was speaking in a bright tone of voice that even I thought was laughable. Facing that profile looking far away, I continued to speak cheerfully alone. I knew that doing this was useless. At most, how 2 days before the end would turn to 3. Even I knew it was on that level. Come on, say something. There's some place, isn't there?
別に
I know you don't like cars. You want to go on the expressway again?
別に
Then, well, let's go buy some new clothes. You want them, don't you?
別に
Not particularly you. Those final words, once again the girl looked out at the window. Now looking at the narcissus that spread before her, but like before looking off somewhere far away. That pouting, embarrassed face she would sometimes show. She wouldn't show it to me anymore. Why are you like that? Always with just not particularly. Just because a little bit forward-facing, what's wrong with that? Just being a little bit forward-facing, what's wrong with that? Before I knew it, I raised my voice. For some reason, I was sad. Even though I was supposed to be unable to have reality, my heart ached. Interior of the car returned to silence. Outside the window were the flowers of January. Daffodils, narcissus, in the dark before dawn, their whiteness gently swayed. Farther from the flowers, much farther, the girl continued gazing. Only the faint sounds of waves held sway in this place.
前向きになってなれるわけないし
Look, inside the dark car, suddenly she spoke up.
憧れて懸命になって頑張っていつか報われるのならいいけどでも叶わなかった時にはどうすればいいの。その時に無理だったねって笑って言えるほど強くないわよ。
The girlhood eyes that looked far away was looking straight at me from the passenger seat.
私にできることは最初から諦めてやっぱり無理だったと冷めた目で自分を見ることしかできないのよ。
For the first time, the girl cried. Even though she'd almost never showed any emotion, her small shoulders shook and her tears flowed.
あの時頑張っていたらもしかしたらって自分にとっての最後の言い訳を取っておくしかないのよ。最初から無理だと分かっているんだから。それぐらいいいんじゃないの。
Oh, I looked at the dark sky before the windshield, the sky before the dawn even showed the face of the moon. I could only hear the occasional sound of waves, the girl's sobbing voice. The girl might feel that she was the same as Echo, unable to return anything but the same words. From herself she could say nothing, hope for nothing, see nothing, could do nothing but give up. So for this girl, refusing both the seventh floor and home was perhaps her first and last act of defiance. Okay, number 8. Shiraishi construction. The clear sea of January, cold wind that pierced the skin. Occasionally a strong gust would sway the pine grove and the sound of waves calmly reverberated. Okay, he keeps saying, I think the main guy is a guy, but he keeps saying it's January, but it turned to February like several scenes ago. Occasionally a strong gust would sway the pine grove and the sound of waves calmly reverberated. Well, there's nothing other than this. I handed over the towel with Shiraishi construction paint printed on it, as it was what we had used to wipe our bodies down with before. Hey, don't make such a strange face. All right. Seeming slightly unsatisfied, the girl took the towel. Suddenly saying she wanted a swimsuit, what could I do? In this season at this place, on top of that, she said she wanted a bikini. Doing what I could. What came out of the car when I searched was that white towel that had been out in the pile of laundry, and then waiting for a while in that skirt she liked with the towel just before I wrapped around her chest, the girl appeared. Well, even if you ask me that. Well, probably. It's perfectly fine. Totally not strange at all. Then the girl slowly began walking out to the water's edge. Waves gathered and retreated. Long hair fluttered in the cold sea breeze. From the sky, as if delivering the finished blow of snow, lightly fell. Within all that, the girl held both her shoes in both hands, happily as if she were splashing around, walking barefoot at the edge of the water. Say, does it look like it? Maybe so. In the cold of midwinter, our breaths slightly misted. Then I took out the camera that I had taken from the car earlier. That cheap-looking disposable camera had only one more shot on it. Here, I'll take pictures of you. I'm sure it'd be more like it that way. As I spoke, I made a show of preparing the camera. Come on now, don't be so reserved, okay? The water's edge. The girls seen through the viewfinder. Maybe she was a bit nervous or perhaps embarrassed. Her face was more complicated than usual. So could you give me a better pose? No buts. Look, there's no magazine model that would stand like a steak. And while still seeming a bit embarrassed in her own way, she tried her best. Shyly putting her hand on her waist, she threw her free hand out wide. The hand is stretched out towards the clear winter sky, as if I was about to grasp something. We're trying to grab something. Stretched straight towards the sky with the emerald green sea to her back. Well then, one last thing. Smile. Smile for me, said Sumi.
何よ
What's with that?
年下の
You're
くせに
you're the younger one. Saying that, for the first time she smiled for me. The girl wearing the skirt she liked with the white bikini smiled for the last shot on the disposable camera, smiled with the emerald green sea to her back. It was as if a magazine model were smiling at me. Great, then next how about a pose with a bit more movement? Happily like she were having fun, she splashed through the water. The film had already been used up in the camera, but I still continued to take shots. Oh, you're getting caught up in this, aren't you?
そんなことないわよ
Cheerfully we talked as if making another attack. The stow fell even harder. And in that though the viewfinder of the camera that had already run out of film, the girl showed a happy face. Even as her small body was thrown about by the wind, she directed her newly recalled smile towards me. Splash, splash.
それじゃ
No, it's already that time. With that answered like before the girl started walking towards the sea.
そういえば免許証
That's fine, take it as a memento.
わかった
While nodding, she put it in her pocket. It was a license that I had once handed to her. Really, it was something that should have already lost its debut. Then the girl took off that white vinyl bracelet wrapped around her wrist and offered it to me. Are you giving this to me?
あげる
I see then. I'll take it as a memento myself. In the same way, I accepted the bracelet and placed it in my pocket. Then once again the girl began walking towards the sea. Facing her back, I threw out my final words. Hey, can I ask you just one last question? Do you right now want me to pull you back? Or instead you want me to give you your back a push? While the waves splashed at her feet, the girl stopped in place. Her back remained facing me after I asked the question. The strong wind turned the crest of the waves into spray that struck her. Before she turned around and
さあどっちだろうねよくわからないね
saying that just one more time, she smiled for me. While being struck by the spray from the waves, even as tears welled up, she faced me with a smile. Before those feet had stopped at the water's edge, but this time they didn't stop. That was why I thought that was her answer.
それじゃあさよなら
And so our journey of 960 kilometers ended. To me, it was 15 days' time. To her, it was the end of a 22-year journey. Not the 7th floor nor home. Of her own will, she avoided them. In the year 2005, she was one of the estimated 35,000 people who committed suicide. Oof. Blood type O, name Satsumi, 22 years old, female, final identification, bracelet white. This was everything about the girl. But I knew. In reality, she liked bikini swimsuits, knew more about the roads than navigation system, and loved cars. She even had a license. She was always without expression and would only rarely face you. But once in a while, she would make this embarrassed pouting face. The emerald sea to her back, as if dancing happily like a magazine model, she smiled. And yet, on the cheap, disposable camera, only a single picture remained of her smile. But even so, even with just one picture, it was the proof of ourselves that we left behind. Okay, I don't know how long these credits are. Pokemon Rizuna said rip. Oh, okay, they were short, I think.
眩しかった日のこと。そんな
Th-
冬の日の
Those dazzling days, those winter day. Oh, 2005 with Setsumi. Okay. Well, that's all I had planned today. Thank you, Hernan, for the dinosaur dance. Thank you for coming to the stream. I will pick someone to raid now. Okay, just give me a minute. I have to look at my phone. Okay. Okay, I am going to raid Kirsch. Okay, and sorry about not skipping, but I pressed enter early a few times, so sorry about that. Okay. Well, bye guys. Wait, hold on. Oh, okay. Wait, okay. Frederick, I forgot I can use my mouse. Okay.